Football violence in Argentina is once again at fever pitch. 2 deadly gunfights in the last 3 weeks have thrown the spotlight back onto security outside stadiums. More than 100 shots were fired in the first incident, which killed 1 and wounded 13. Just days later, a pre-game shootout claimed another life and injured an 11-year-old boy. In both cases, the violence was between hooligans aligned to the same team. These so-called barra bravas control the business of football through violence and extortion. Argentine football has long been synonymous with skillful play and passionate crowds, but increasingly it has come to be associated with something else: violence. One sinister presence looms large over this violence: Argentina's football hooligans, or barra bravas. These gangs claim to be the sport's most passionate fans, but in reality they profit from the clubs they profess to love through extortion and other criminal activity. What's worse, authorities have been unwilling or unable to stop them. Monica Nizardo was working for a football club in 2007 when she decided to take a stand. Having witnessed years of violence and intimidation, she formed Let's Save Football, an organization that documents and denounces stadium thuggery. Since then, her digging has prompted countless death threats. She says the violence of the barra bravas is driven by one simple motive: their thirst for money.
All of the internal fights we've seen in recent years, all of them, are related to business, not football. It's about who keeps the money from the resale of tickets, from the illegal parking racket at stadiums, from merchandising, and the money from the players they threaten. Some players pay because they want to, and others say they don't have a choice if they want to live in peace.
For the barra bravas, it's a very lucrative business.
2 years ago we did some field work at the Estudiantes de La Plata club, and we found that the barra was making 250,000 pesos at each home game.
And a lot of that money is tainted by blood. Barra bravas are not afraid to kill for control of the business. According to journalist Gustavo Grabia, who writes about football violence for Argentina's leading sports publication, the violence has increased in the first few months this year. Perhaps surprisingly, he attributes this to the upcoming legislative elections.
What do elections have to do with football violence? Well, they're closely connected because barra bravas work for political parties, and that means that the money coming in is more important at election times. So whoever controls the stands controls this increased amount of money, and 2013 is an election year. And then you have to consider that the judicial system does not function properly.
Barra bravas are frequently hired to provide muscle at rallies organized by the political parties and unions to which they are aligned. Neither the federal government nor Argentina's governing football body has taken serious action to counter the hooligans' stranglehold on the game. Even the Argentine president Cristina Fernández de Kirchner referred to the barra bravas as good boys and leaders of the passion in a speech last August. In many cases, genuine supporters who have no link whatsoever to the barra bravas are killed because they are simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nora Rusuli's son Christian was killed outside the stadium as he approached with other supporters. It was going to be the first game he'd ever attended.
They stabbed him in the back because he was wearing a red hat, which identified him as an Independiente supporter. The murderers were arrested and confessed, but the case was thrown out of court because one of the defendant's lawyers wasn't present at the time of confession.
Nora's repeated attempts to garner support with politicians were unsuccessful, so she decided to team up with other families of victims of football violence.
All the doors were closed, so I could not do it by myself. I went to meet with other mothers to see what we could do together, but it is something so ingrained in society that if there is no political will to change things, the violence can't be stopped. I don't have hope anymore. There will never be justice for my son's murder.
Football and government authorities declined to comment. Meanwhile, the whole of Argentine society knows what is going on, but is afraid to speak out. In the face of inaction by football authorities and the federal government, it is up to people like Nora and Gustavo to risk their lives and speak up against the barra bravas. This is Julian Ferrat 4JN1 in Buenos Aires.